Module 5, Business and Logistics of Event Catering. Lesson 5.2, Vendor and Supplier Coordination. A luxury culinary event is not just a party, it is a massive, highly complex, and time-sensitive supply chain operation. Guests experience an evening of seamless elegance, but that illusion relies entirely on strict vendor coordination and invisible back-end logistics. This network map illustrates the operation's reality. Internal departments and external vendors must synchronize movements with zero margin for error. The critical question is how managers engineer resilience into such a highly interdependent system to prevent a total cascade failure. To understand this system, we'll track the logistics lifecycle chronologically, from initial procurement straight through to the final strike phase. Coordinating these moving parts creates the infrastructure necessary to execute high-stakes event management. The timeline begins in Phase 1, procurement. Weeks before an event, the sales manager finalizes the banquet event order. The executive chef translates menu selections into a precise raw materials list. The purchasing manager then negotiates direct lines with regional farmers, specialty importers, and distributors. A professional purchasing manager intentionally curates a diverse portfolio of these vendors. Maintaining multiple sourcing channels acts as an operational buffer against seasonal ingredient shortages. It also shields the operations budget from sudden price fluctuations in the agricultural market. Because of this back-end negotiation, the sous chef always has the premium ingredients required to execute the menu, regardless of market conditions. Procurement is an act of proactive risk mitigation that protects the integrity of the original culinary vision. Once materials are ordered, the operation advances to Phase 2, receiving. The loading dock immediately emerges as a severe operational bottleneck. Physical space is finite, and the simultaneous arrival of multiple semi-trucks triggers congestion. To clear traffic, the receiving clerk enforces a synchronized delivery schedule. This schedule ensures that highly perishable items like seafood and dairy arrive exactly at the peak of freshness and are immediately transferred into precise climate-controlled environments. During this physical transfer, the quality control inspector checks every single crate against the original purchase order, verifying temperature compliance, weight accuracy, and strict visual standards. If a shipment of heirloom tomatoes arrives bruised, it triggers an immediate response protocol. The purchasing manager contacts the vendor's account representative to coordinate an emergency redelivery, creating a rapid feedback loop. This speed is required because the prep cook cannot begin the mise en place until the physical inventory is present and verified. Verifying inventory at the dock prevents defective materials from entering the kitchen, where they would otherwise stall the production line. With ingredients secured, we move to Phase 3, operating across two simultaneous lanes: external vendors, and financial control. In the external lane, the banquet manager coordinates with the lead floral designer, confirming centerpieces meet fire codes and will not physically obstruct service flow. Simultaneously, they verify with linen coordinators that exact quantities of tablecloths and napkins are delivered and pressed well before the setup crew begins their work. When errors inevitably occur, such as a rental agent delivering the wrong style of gold-rimmed plates, the banquet manager must exercise professional diplomacy to resolve the issue without delaying the room set. While the room is set, the back-end financial process runs in parallel. Every digital invoice from a vendor is strictly reconciled against the receiving logs generated earlier by the storekeeper. The accounts payable clerk and the financial controller execute this matching process to guarantee the catering department pays only for deliveries that were physically accepted. Executing these payments in a transparent, timely cycle builds what is known in the industry as relational capital with your vendors. If a surprise VIP guest list edition requires 5 extra kilograms of caviar at the last minute, a vendor who trusts your payment cycle is highly likely to authorize an emergency after-hours delivery. Financial diligence directly creates operational flexibility. Reliable back-office practices solve time-critical front-of-house emergencies. This brings us to Phase 4, beverage management. Unlike food, which is primarily consumed on-site the day of the event, liquid inventory requires meticulous tracking of returns. The beverage department operates by maintaining strict par levels to ensure they never overstock or run dry. To maximize efficiency, the cellar master negotiates buyback agreements with distributor representatives, allowing unopened cases of wine or spirits to be returned for a refund. These buybacks directly protect the Director of Finance's bottom line. On the day of the event, internal logistics take over. The head bartender maps out exact refrigerated zones, so delivery drivers know precisely where to drop kegs and crates. The barbacks then organize this specific inventory so it is rapidly accessible during the cocktail hour rush. The operational goal is singular: ensure the bartenders never run out of a signature cocktail ingredient during the absolute peak of the reception. Tight internal and external beverage coordination guarantees the continuous flow that guests expect from a luxury establishment. After the final guest departs, we enter Phase 5, the strike phase. The banquet captain and head houseman oversee the immediate return of all rented assets to drivers at predetermined times. The steward then ensures all rented glassware and china are scraped, rinsed, and repacked into their original crates. This strict repacking protocol exists to prevent steep loss and damage fees from the rental company. Finally, the banquet manager conducts a walkthrough, signing off on returned inventory directly with the vendor. This closing communication loop cements the relational capital established. Treating suppliers and vendors as a direct extension of the internal team ensures that every link in the chain is committed to the same timeline. Ultimately, it is this massive, professionally coordinated infrastructure that makes an exceptional luxury guest experience appear completely effortless.